これが初めて、これ純菜食主義の講座でありましてですね、いろいろこう準備するの大変だったと思います。大変でしたけども、こうして大勢の方たちがいらっしゃってくださったことに感謝いたします。And thank you very much for coming to this cooking class, and this is very unique class, and this is pure vegetarian vegans cooking. I'm very happy that Michelle from Japan come to our church.
You're getting the hang of it.
Come to our church and to present such beautiful, beautiful dishes. Yeah, dishes. Yes, and how long are you going to?
Well, what I'm going to do is we're just going to start and then cook.
Yes.
Then after we'll serve and we'll have a sample.
Okay. And so it's been about 2 or 3 hours.
About 2 hours and hoping we'll
About 2
finish
hours.
in
まあ2時間ぐらいの料理教室ですけども、どうぞ皆さんですね、本当に楽しんでしっかりいいものを学んでですね、ご家庭で、美味しい料理を家族の方たちに、提供していただきたいと思います。So, learn a lot of things from her and bring a delicious food to your family members, okay? And it's good, if you enjoy it, we're going to have another cooking class, okay? それではお祈りいたしましょう。Let's pray. 神様、素晴らしいこの日曜日の朝、お昼を感謝いたします。これから料理教室を開きます。ミシェルが大事なこと、料理方法、栄養について事細かにお話をします。私たちもどうぞこれからたくさんのことを学んで、そして家庭でおいしい料理、健康な食事を紹介でき、多くの方たちがより一層健康になりますように、そして霊的にも豊かに祝福されますようにお願いいたします。Our Father in heaven, we thank you for giving us such a wonderful opportunity to learn about good cooking. And thank you that you have chosen Sister Michelle from Japan to be a teacher, to teach us how to cook better meals. So please bless this cooking class, bless Michelle, so that we can learn good things and delicious meals, and that we can present this wonderful meal to our families, that we all get healthy physically and spiritually. This we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Good afternoon, everyone.
もし通訳が必要でしたら、ところどころでいたしますから、どうぞおっしゃってください。
Also, just to make sure if we need a mic, is it loud? Can
No, I
everybody
think
hear?
that's good. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Everybody can hear me well?
Speak up a little.
A little bit louder on this side?
That's good right there.
That's good.
You're gonna lose your voice.
Well, this is a real pleasant and amazing turnout. I'm so happy for the enthusiasm for wanting to cook vegetarian meals. I mean, this is not a cooking class, because I know everyone here can cook. Even if you can only boil a pot of rice, you can cook. If you can toast a slice of bread, you can cook, okay? So this is not so much as to how to cook, but basically how to prepare healthy meals and healthy versions of what you're used to at home on a daily basis. So today, I mean, I remember seeing a little plaque at somebody's house, and it had, you know, nice little comments, like hilarious little comments. And one of the comments was, "Life is too short, eat dessert first." So today we're going to start with dessert. We're not going to eat it first though. We're going to start with desserts so that we can have it being baked while we move on to the entrees or the main courses. Okay? So today we're going to do, you notice on your menu, it's a decadent, rich coconut cake. I know that the title of it sounds almost unhealthy, but it's not so much. It's a little bit of some more packages. It is quite decadent because it has a lot of coconut milk in it. And some people have a misconception that coconut milk is bad for you.
No.
In actual fact, it's not. Regions in the world where they use a lot of coconut oils, and in the Caribbean we also use a lot of coconut oils. One of the best oils to fry with if you choose to fry. And it's one of the best things to drink as water. The coconut water is amazing. Like when you go to the Caribbean and you're on the beach and you just drink coconut water all day, it's so refreshing and cleansing to the body. The fats in coconut oil is even more surprising for some because it actually lowers cholesterol. Regions in the world that use coconut oil, you'll find that they have very low incidence of cardiovascular diseases. And it's more attributed to the coconut oils and the coconuts that they use on a regular basis. So today, we're going to be using a lot of coconut milk and some of the meal of the coconut itself. Okay, so let's get started. Now, with bacon, I'm using, just one more thing. I know you probably, after yesterday's response with the questions and answers from the seminars and the enthusiasm, which I really greatly appreciate, what I'll do while I'm cooking, because we have so many things on the menu, once I've finished cooking that particular item, then I'll take the questions. Okay, so that we can move on a little bit more faster. Okay, so I'm using 2 types of flour today. I'm not sure if anyone has heard of spelt flour. It's one of the ancient grains. It's not a popular flour, quite expensive, unfortunately, but you can purchase it in bulk bar. Okay, it's twice as expensive as regular flour, but it's worth it because as an addition to some fiber, it's very high in fiber and somewhat a little bit in protein as well than your regular unbleached. Now, this is regular white flour, yes, but what makes it a little bit better is that it's unbleached. All your flours should be unbleached. They use some form of hydrogen peroxide, which is bleach basically, and you don't want to drink bleach or eat bleach. You wash with it, or you shouldn't use it at all actually. But anyways, so these are the 2 flours I'm going to use for choice today. So the first thing we're going to do is just measure. Usually I sift it, but today we don't have a sifter, so hopefully the cake will come out quite fluffy. Okay, so we're going to just use about 3 cups of flour. And what I've already done is preheat my oven to 350. I've already greased a loaf pan. I like these for doing vegetarian cakes. The reason being is that because I'm not using eggs or milk, and I need that fluffy consistency of cake, having this hole in the center kind of spreads out the cake a little bit more so that the heat can get through the entire cake without getting that soggy lower bottom, because it doesn't rise as much as a regular egg milk cake. So I've greased this very well with some vegan butter or spread. I rather use the word spread. Okay, and so what I've done is, so that my cake can fall out very easily, after I've greased it, I flour the pan, and the residual flour, I just put it over my bit of dust, so it's nice and floured. Okay, so I'm finished with that flour. Move on to our spelt flour. And I use about 3/4 cups. Doesn't sound like a lot compared to the white, but it provides so much fiber throughout the cake. You'd be amazed. This would be your very
The last page.
Oh, is it the last page? I thought it was the first. We're gonna add to it my salt. I'm missing my salt. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now I spoke about high blood pressure yesterday and how to reduce your salt. And one of the best ways when you follow a recipe, everybody's recipe is going to be different. Even when you bring these recipes home, you may try them exactly the way it's presented, but change it around. If you're concerned about salt, don't use all the salt that I've used. I've seen recipes that use twice the amount of salt that I use, but I cut it in half. So if you don't like my salt content, you can cut it in half if you'd rather do that. Okay? So I'm just going to use about 3/4 teaspoon or less, just to give it a lift of salt. Okay?
So Michelle, in your recipe you have 3/4 teaspoon for 1 cup spelt or 1 cup unbleached. Is that a typo?
Oh, that is a typo. If you have a pen, you can make the correction there. Thank you so much for noticing that. That would be 3 cups of unbleached flour and 3/4 cups of spelt. No idea what it is. So sorry. So 3 cups of flour, unbleached, and 3/4 cup of spelt. I'm going to use a large, this is my rising agent. I don't have the protein from the eggs to help with that matrix in the cake to give it that fluffiness. So I do use quite a bit of baking powder. Now mind you, this is not something you eat every day. Baking powder is not necessarily the best thing in the world to consume, as long as it's not something that you're consuming all the time. Dessert is a once in a while thing. I don't expect you to eat dessert or coconut cake every single day. Okay? So, no. But in terms of high blood pressure, and I said one of the clues of things that you should read that indicates salt content is sodium bicarbonate. This is considered a salt. It may not be the salt like sea salt that you can taste, but it does have sodium in it, sodium bicarbonate. So use it sparingly, or cut your salt, your sea salt, before you use this as well. Okay? So we're going to use a heaping tablespoon of baking powder. So we have all our dry ingredients coming together. If you notice, I have 3/4 cup of fructose. And we spoke about fructose last night in regards to diabetics, and that it doesn't cause a rapid rise in your blood sugar because your liver needs to convert it to glucose. Today, we're not using fructose. Fructose is kind of affordable if you're doing it once in a while. It can be expensive if you're always using it. Today, we're using raw sugar. Now, I spoke to you also about the different types of sugars that are available. Your body treats all sugars equally. Its goal is to maximize or use the glucose that is present in that carbohydrate. But if you use a sugar that is white and stripped of all its element, it puts more strain on your body, and your body requires extra vitamin B's and whatnot, enzymes to metabolize that white sugar. Raw sugar has all the juices of the cane, so the B vitamins, etc., is associated still with the sugar. Okay? So today we're using the raw brown sugar. And we need, and again, to your liking, if you don't like it too sweet, as a diabetic, you can use fructose. It is better. Stevia has an aftertaste, so it depends on your palate. If you can stand it, use stevia. Okay? So we're going to use, and again, if you don't like too much sweet, then lessen it. We're going to use 3/4 cup of sugar. Actually, I put a little bit less here. Okay? Okay. Now normally, like I said, I would have a strainer just to sift everything together. But with this, I will just use a fork. Michaela? My little Michaela. Come, Michaela. Okay. She's going to stir that consistently. Now, I need another sous chef, Elijah. Warm this in the microwave for 30 seconds. This is coconut milk. Now, you can get coconut milk anywhere in your grocery store, in the canned, or they're in the some Asian markets and Caribbean stores. They sell it freshly squeezed and frozen. In the Caribbean, we actually like to take the coconut, a lot of work, cut it up, put it in the blender, add water, strain it, milk it, and we use the milk. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it because it's fresh. If you don't have time for that, then you just go and purchase a can of coconut cream or coconut milk. So he's going to warm it for 30 seconds, a half a cup warmed, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because I need to put, just to, not dissolve, but just to make sure it mixes very well, silken tofu, soft tofu. This is the protein in my cake, almost like my egg. Okay? About 3/4 cup of silken tofu. Silken. It has to be the very soft tofu. Okay? And And while that is going, now we talk about all different types of fats. This is the affordable version of oils because it has both extra virgin olive oil and canola oil combined together. So it's slightly cheaper than having pure olive oil, but good, better, best is what I go by. If I can't afford the best right now, then I'll go with good, better, best, good. And then I'll go with good. Okay? So this is still good oil. So I'm just going to get this ready. My son is coming with the milk. And what does it say for our milk, our oil? Half a cup. And again, a cup. Oh, a half. You can even make it less than that. Okay, thank you. It's not too warm, I hope. Okay, that's good. So I'm just going to add that to my... Mikhail, you finished stirring? Okay. Add that to my tofu. And I have to get ready with my vanilla extract. If you're concerned about it being an extract where they use a certain amount of alcohol to extract the flavor of the vanilla bean, they do have available in the health store vanilla extract that is alcohol free. When I'm doing a cleanse, I usually use the vanilla that doesn't have the alcohol in it. And just for a little bit, you don't have to use this. I just like to use it because it's an extra flavoring. Is coconut extract. So it gives the cake a little bit more of a coconut flavor to it. Okay, so I'm getting ready for all my liquids. Good enough. So we have our wet ingredient, our dry ingredient. Everybody's paying attention. Did I miss anything on the list so far? Everything seems to be there? Because I don't want to miss anything.
Did you put the fructose?
I used raw,
the sugar,
raw,
right?
yeah,
Sorry.
cane sugar, salt. Everything is in. Simple as that. We have our liquid. What's that? Oh, thank you. See, I knew somebody would be paying attention. Okay. Now, I'm not very good with measuring. That's one of my problems with being in the kitchen. I usually use, I know it says a quarter cup, but I usually go by my handful. So I usually do about,
What is that? Coconut.
this is the meal of the coconut, unsweetened, bulk barn. Okay? Unsweetened.
So
Okay,
that's
so-
coconut meal?
Well, I call it meal because it's the hard portion. Yeah,
It's
that's the
ground
meat.
up.
So
Right,
the meal
right.
part of it. Yeah. Yes.
Grated.
Yes. So this one is a medium because there's different ways of they have the coarse, the medium, the shredded, etc. The flaked, which is what I have here. So prior to this, I took the larger flaked coconut and I just slightly put it in the oven. This is my garnish, my decoration. After I'm finished my cake, you'll see it. I dress the cake with it. Okay, so we mix all that. Make sure this is thoroughly mixed. My daughter did a good job. Just giving it my added touch to it. Okay, and we just simply...
Michelle, did you use baking powder?
Yes, I did. My blender's not leaking. I need a paper towel.
Now.
It's an old blender. It's been around for a long time. So we just pour our batter, pour this in with our batter.
Please pay attention.
Okay. Michaela or Elijah? Can you just give this a good wash? Okay, so we just mix everything together.
Order.
Now, if you notice that the consistency is too thick, feel free to add any form, which this one is, because for some reason the spelt, once the spelt is in there, of course it's the fiber, it'll start sucking up all the moisture. So, you have three choices. Today I don't have the third one, or do I? Okay, maybe not. Which would be almond milk. So you have rice milk, soy milk, almond milk. I'm going to use rice. Why? Because I have enough soy in there so far. So I like to mix it up a little. So this is what you need to do if the batter becomes a little bit too thick. Okay? Can everybody see what I'm doing? Somewhat?
What do you consider too thick?
It should be pourable like a batter. You have an idea of what a batter looks like. Is it thoroughly clean? Because I'm going to do cheese sauce in there. Okay. Okay, so I'll show you in a minute once I get the right consistency what you're looking for. And you don't want to over mix it too much. So notice I'm not using an electrical hand blender. I'm just using my hand. Okay? So this is thick enough. Keep in mind it's a vegan cake. There's no eggs in here to help it. Okay? And I don't have my spatula today. So this should be interesting. Okay, as I turn and pour. Yep. Turn and pour.
This is sitting in front.
Elijah Jr., is the oven ready for this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Turn and pour. Michaela, can you take this bowl, please?
Yeah. Or a sponge.
Thank you.
Oh, so yeah.
Okay, and this is just going to go straight into the oven. About 25 minutes. All right, so that's the cake. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next thing, which would be the nut roast. So while the cake is baking, we're going to move on to the nut roast. Let me get my burner plugged in. That is plugged in. Okay, so we're going to start off with sauteing our onions. Now this is my fast version of getting this done. Not everyone has these kind of tools, so you might have to manually just chop your onions really fine. I also need the celery. Your dad is good. Oh yes, it's okay, Junior, I have it. Sorry. Okay, now I need 2 plugs. I'm gonna have to go back and forth.
Oh, there's a power.
Okay, there we go. So this is ready to go. So I have my favorite chopper, the Ninja. I know it's a funny name, but it's how fitting. Yeah, so we have my little Ninja. And I just coarsely chop my onions. About 2 large onions. I'm going by memory here.
They're Spanish onions, are they?
No, these are just regular yellow onions, cooking onions. Okay? Here's my lid. So, this is heating up. I'm not sure about how well this heats. It's my first time using an electric skillet. Okay, again, olive oil for sauteing. Okay, Now, one of the things that's important about cooking is the type of items that you cook in. I'm okay with this because it's brand new. It's Teflon, not the best thing to use. Once it's scratched, I've been to people's home where they have scratched Teflon and they keep using it. Throw it in the garbage. So this is okay because it's brand new. There's no exposure with the aluminum underneath or the plastic or whatever, but this is great. And stainless steel and of course that very, very heavy iron skillets. Those are great for cooking with. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a little bit of pulse. Okay. Okay. We don't want it to be mush. Just enough, and it's fine enough. Okay, we can still use this for it's just flour. Let's test this. Oh yeah, it's ready to go. It's on a tilt, so it's not very effective. Lily, the window, please. I'm gonna use a wooden spoon in my skillet, not to scratch it.
Just push it.
Hello, my stir. Okay, so we just do the other one. So, see, these are really convenient because it makes things faster and less crying as well. Makes your life easier, eh? That's why I like it. I like the name too. The Ninja.
Do you have particular one good for garlic also? Garlic?
Oh yeah, it's great. The reason why I like the Ninja the best out of all the choppers is because of the double blade. It doesn't make your food mushy. It really chops it nicely and loosely. And this, I use this to make ice cream as well. With such a large crowd, I just thought that wouldn't be a good idea. A lot of work involved. Okay. Now, don't be alarmed by this. I like to season my seasoning. Just a teeny bit. But you don't have to do that. So. Okay, that was just a little bit of sea salt on top of the onions. Whatever I didn't get in there. And of course, I made sure I wash my hands thoroughly with soap before I enter. And your nails should be low if you're serving people. No fancy long nails with nail polish and stuff. Fumes, now I'm crying. Okay, continue, Michaela. Okay, so now I have that going. And what I'm going to do next is chop my celery. Again, I want it very fine. So what I need about 2.5 cups. What's great about this nut roast is it's so high in fiber. We spoke about blood pressure. Celery is one of the most amazing things to eat or juice. You'll get more out of it. There's a lot of research behind celery and juicing it and what it does to your blood pressure. Now imagine it as a whole vegetable and grinding that up in your nut roast. The fiber that's in it. The sodium. There's enough sodium in this as well. Okay? So this is a very high in fiber roast.
She said
A friend of mine, she's not vegetarian, she's a meat eater, and I made this for her, and she has problems with bowel movements, and after she had this, she had a wonderful morning.
She can smile.
Yes. It was a good morning for her. Okay, so I just put this in there so you can just get a rough idea of how much celery I'm using. So that's about a cup there. I'm going to continue. Okay, we can turn this down, or actually I can even turn it off. I won't need it again for now. Really simple. Okay, turn it on. Oh, the convenience of life.
You don't cook this when you can.
So we got one and another. I'm a very rough measurer, so just forgive me, please. I'm not good with exact things, so a lot of people get annoyed with me because I can never give them the right recipe. But trust me, that's the right recipe. I thought about it a lot. I did it quite a few times. Okay, so we got about two cups there. Okay, just put a little bit more for another half a cup. And then we're done with our celery. Okay. Do that again. Okay. That'll be our last. Okay. And what we're gonna do with everything is in one bowl. That's what's so great about this recipe. It's all in one bowl. Just mix it all up. Okay. And we're not done with our ninja as yet because we're gonna do some more things in it. So I'll let that sit, the onion sit for a little bit, let it cool down a bit. And then what I'm gonna add now is nuts. Now, is there anybody here with nut allergies?
What kind of nuts?
We're using walnuts and sunflower seeds. Okay, so just regular walnuts, give it a rinse, and some sunflower seeds. Now, if you do have a nut allergy, you can use all of this, all of the nuts, because I make an oat burger, and my clients that I make it for, some of them have nut allergy, so I only use the sesame seeds. Okay, so that's fine too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also grind my sunflower seeds. Did I say sesame seeds? I meant sunflower seeds. Okay, so we're gonna give this a grind also. Okay. And of course, the importance of nuts, other than the protein that you'll get from nuts, is the essential fatty oils. So you're getting good fats in here. Okay? No cholesterol. If it doesn't have a face, it doesn't have cholesterol. Keep that in mind.
No eyes.
That's the best way to remember it. No face, no eyes, no cholesterol. Okay?
That's right.
So, and now we do our walnuts, the same thing with our walnuts. Well, I brought that up because I had done a presentation with a group of people and they swore that avocado had cholesterol in it. And I said, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have a face. I said it's high in unsaturated fat. Sorry, it's high in saturated fats, but it doesn't have cholesterol.
Isn't it a good fat though?
And that is a very that fat in the avocado is very good fat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of saturated fat has the length of the chain of the fatty acid is somewhat would fall in the category of coconut oil, a medium chain. And that medium chain, how it affects the cells, is what lowers cholesterol and makes it a healthy fat. I don't like to waste anything. Okay, so we got our nuts, we got our celery, and then we're going to put in our, I'm just going to gently use this. Okay, our onions. And Michaela, you're my stirrer. You don't want to be my stirrer? Are you being shy? You're always bugging me about stirring at home. Okay, you'll be my stirrer? Okay. You're going to stir all this together. I think I'm done with cutting. No, I'm not. I'll throw it all in. Good stuff. Okay, I'll take this. I'll make a space here. Okay, so don't touch that, that's hot. Put this aside. And Junior, I need this out of the way now. And the element is going to return here. Okay, so we're going to mix that. Where's my fork? Where's my fork? That's what I'm looking for. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Here's another one. Okay, so he's gonna stir that, and then we're gonna add all our herbs. So, one way of bringing out the flavors instead of using flavor enhancement like what we spoke about last night, MSG, a flavor enhancer, use a lot of herbs. They're medicinal. They give your food flavor. You can minimize your salt and your usage of MSG by using a lot of herbs. Once they're cooked, they give off their own essential oils and they have their own medicinal properties. That was basil I just put in. This is about a teaspoon of thyme. I like to use both thyme and sage. And these, of course, you can find in your grocery. About a half a teaspoon of sage. Okay? I'm going to mix that thoroughly. And a little bit of salt. Here I go again, not measuring. Okay, but your sheet has all the measurements on it. Now, one of the things that you're going to use in this to keep it together, the roast, is the breadcrumbs.
What kind?
And I use whole wheat breadcrumbs. And what I've done, in the past, my children, for some reason, they don't like the back of the bread. So you have like 3-4 loaves of the back of the bread in the fridge. And the best thing to do, because we don't like to waste food, is I throw it in the freezer and just let it freeze, and then they accumulate. And I bag them, and then I put them on a cookie tray, and I bake them in the oven. And they come out crispy like this. Like that. And again, if you don't have a Ninja but you have a blender, you need something. Something is essential, whether you choose to have a blender or a chopper. And I just simply break the bread. So I'm showing you quickly how I make breadcrumbs. See, it's nice and crispy. It's been sitting in the oven at 200, nicely and dried out. You can do it in the blender, but it's much harder. Once I found an easier way. You mixed it good? Okay. Okay, there we go. Excuse me, did I unplug this?
I
No,
plugged
didn't.
everything in.
It's plugged in, right?
Plugged it.
Okay. Okay, and then, now the breadcrumbs that you find in the grocery store is usually white bread. White breadcrumbs, so not that healthy, right? So here you have your nice breadcrumbs, just like that. Okay? And we're gonna need, once we have all our herbs, did I miss anything? Everybody's paying attention? Did I miss anything? Everything is in there? Basil, the salt,
Almond milk.
almond milk, or soy milk. So I'm gonna go with rice milk, because I opened it already. And nothing wrong with soy, but if you use too much of it, there can be concerns. What I love about, one of the things I notice about North Americans, once they find something is good, they went to Asia, China, Japan, they say, oh, tofu and soy, and oh, they use it and it's great, and they have low incidence of breast cancer and blah, blah. So they bring it back to North America and they mass produce it. And they put it in everything. And now there's problems with having too much soy. So in my family, I try to balance it out. And this is where the balance comes in. Some people say that soy milk actually depresses the thyroid function. That's one of the organs that are responsible for the metabolism and your energy level, etc., how you burn fat, all those things. The balance is to eat it with seaweed, and I'm sure most of you here are familiar with that. That's where the balance is, because the seaweed has the iodine in it, and that stimulates the thyroid. So you have a total balance. Okay? Okay, so that's good. So we got that and that. How are we doing with time? You guys can start with the salad. Start with the salad. Right after this, I'm going to make you an Italian creamy dressing, and you'll have a sample of this, the salad. Okay, so everything is mixed up. Oh, the celery was nice and green. And I'm going to put 2 cups of your almond milk, your soy milk, or your rice milk. Okay, so put 2 cups of that. And the breadcrumbs is going to be the last thing to go in. It gets messy after a while. I'm just drying this out very quickly. No, that's okay, because it's the same thing. Okay, so I already have some breadcrumbs here. Once I've mixed this thoroughly. Now, we spoke about pepper. being from the Caribbean, it's hard for me to run away from my spice sometimes, so I choose to use cayenne pepper. Elijah, cayenne pepper, I left it in there. So sometimes I just put a little sprinkle of cayenne pepper just to give it a kick. Thank you. Alright, so just a little sprinkle. Not a lot. Now pepper is an irritant if you eat it too much to your colon. And there's some delicate cells there that are responsible for the absorption of all your nutrients. So you kill those cells, your body doesn't absorb things properly. I want you guys to start plating all of the salad, and I'm going to make the dressing in a minute. We won't serve the salads yet. Try to find as much, maximize your space. So we add this slowly. Just keep adding it slowly and mixing. Another cup, we need about 3 cups. And I'll use the one that I've already used in here. And what I'm going to do is going to serve you guys the salad, and then we'll pass around the dressing while you guys can sample this. And why do I make my own dressing? I don't buy salad dressing at all. Can anyone tell me why I shouldn't buy my own salad dressing?
You don't know what they're putting in it for anything.
That's true, but what do they usually put in it? The type of fat, exactly. A lot of chemicals, depending on the brand you buy. Okay, so this is where it gets fun. Remember I said I did wash my hands, and just like kneading bread, you start bringing it together. And you're thinking, how is this going to turn into a roast? But once you put it in there, bake it, let it sit, you're able to slice it. This is like your meat source. Okay? So you put it in a well-greased. I like to put a strip of parchment paper down the middle. That way it's easy to remove the roast out of your container.
Could you put flour and something like that?
Well, your bread, crumbs, is your flour to hold it together. So,
I just meant for releasing it like you did with the cake.
I'm sorry?
For releasing it like you did with the cake.
Oh, you mean like flouring it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could. But with the parchment, you just simply lift it, and it comes out much easier without breaking the roast itself. Okay, so this is going to go into the oven. Okay. And I'm going to take this and go wash my hands. Because now I'm really messy. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so if you guys can make some space, pull yourself up towards the table. Those who have access to a table, we're going to serve the salad. If not, I apologize, you're going to have to eat the salad on your lap, if that's okay.
I'm full already.
Some more. Some more. What else?
What about this?
Yeah, these can go. And this. Yeah. You know what? I need the electrical piece, the one with no sugar at it.
Being in the room and
Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way because I'm going to do a salad dressing now since we're serving the salad right now.